How's it going, everybody? I wanted to do a follow-up on one of my videos. It's something I promised, and it's been in the works, and I'm finally ready to release it. And I don't know if you can tell or not, I've got the follow-up on me. Well, there you go. You can see the little hump in the back. So, what is the follow-up on? It is on the Tomahawk low-vis plate carrier. As you can see, with just a regular shirt, as long as you don't notice the humpback, which the average person probably wouldn't notice, it works extremely well as a concealed carry vest. Now, what took so long for this review is I wanted to make for sure that it actually did what I wanted it to do and that it was actually worth it. So as you can see, I got the plate carrier, 2 mags, got some first aid here, is a, try to get to where you can see it. This is the emergency trauma 4-inch. This is a flat one, similar to the Israeli bandage. They're kind of a pain to get in here when you've got the vest on, but it is doable. On this side, I've got, I've got compressed gauze, and then I've got 2 high-fin, full-size chest seals. That's it over here. That's it over here. And 2 AR mags, loaded, ready to go. Now, let's talk about the pros and the cons to this plate carrier. Pros: extremely slick, very easy to conceal. I mean, slightly larger than normal shirt. Take off my holster. You know, real easy to conceal. Makes you look like you got a few pounds. The only place that gives it away is right here. You kind of see that bulge. But I don't think the average person would ever notice that. So, does it work for concealment? Yes, it works very well for being a low-vis plate carrier. And like I said, I've got hard plates, front and back. Cons. The cons on it. Number one, these pockets, you can fit some medical stuff in them, but they're really, they advertise them as being able to carry extra mags, and it's not comfortable. When you cinch this down to where it doesn't move, it collapses these pockets to where it's really hard to get stuff in. So I don't really think that part works real well for this. Another thing for me personally is I appendix carry. I can't get to my appendix rig if I'm wearing this. You know, having to reach under, pull, get around, it just doesn't work. So it has its limitations if you're looking at it in a realistic real world scenario for the average Joe. And that's what I wanted it for, was for the average Joe. If you'll go back to the first video where I first get the idea and review this, I was thinking something that you could put in your car when things got hairy. At the time, we were having lots of civil unrest, Black Lives Matter protests, cities were getting burned, there were carjackings all over the place. It was kind of crazy time, and I thought something like this for the average Joe that they could put in their car, and if something crazy were to happen, or if you were having to drive through a protested area or a extremely high risk area, you could don this on, with a cover garment, and the bad guys would be none the wiser. You put this on, you're hanging out in your car, you're driving home, you get home, everything's fine. There's been no problems. But if things got crazy and you had to bail on your car, or maybe people started shooting, you've got some protection. And it's very low vis. You don't stick out. You don't look like G.I. Joe. You could have had this on and been running down the streets trying to get away, and people would have never known what you had. Another con to this is on the shoulder straps. You can see I've had to tape them, not because they were tearing, but because they have very limited amount of adjustment. They've really long straps, but they've got really short Velcro. And that's how they connect to each other, is through Velcro. Well, because of how short they are, when I would do workouts in this, which I do a CrossFit style workout, HIIT, whatever you want to call it, high intensity, we do Murph every year. So I went to the gym in this, minus the 2 magazines, and did Murph. Also didn't have the first aid. So I went with it stripped down like this and did Murph in it, and the straps just weren't working. So I ended up taking it off, not completing the workout, went home, taped it up, and it seems okay now. I haven't done Murph since. I need to do another heavy workout to see what it's like. The back plate, you can see how much the straps overlap there in the back. And that's the reason why I had to tape them. I used Gorilla Tape, 2 wraps, to make it fit. And to give it some more security, because like I said, that Velcro is really short. Because of the fact it is a low vis, you have no padding on your shoulders. And that can be a pro or that can be a con, depending on what you're needing. The pro of it is it hides extremely well. I mean, there is nothing, no bulk added to the tops of my shoulders. You would not ever suspect that there was anything there. But that is also a con, because this thing gets uncomfortable when you wear it for long periods of time. It's resting all of its weight on your shoulders. Now, you do have kind of wide straps, which helps, but it's just resting there. There's no padding. So for the concealed aspect of it, it works great. But for an everyday, it's not that comfortable. You're not going to want to wear this for 12 hours. If you had to, you could, but you're not going to want to. There are much more comfortable vest plate carriers out there than what this one is. So those are the 2 cons. The 2 major cons. I've got 2 other cons that might become an issue. Number 1 is on the Velcro. You can see where there's already starting to be some issues with the elastic. You can see how the elastic is starting to weaken. I think that they probably used a somewhat inferior or a short shelf life elastic, or it could just be discoloring. I don't know. I'm gonna have to wait and see. But it's doing it on both sides. This side's the worst because it's the one I usually put on top. But you can see it's starting to, I believe it's starting to fail. I don't know yet. I don't know how long that's gonna last. That's why I said it's kind of a con, but I don't really know, because I'm not for sure. It is looking worn, and that does worry me. The other thing that worries me is if you were going to use this for everyday use, if you were needing something for everyday use, I would skip this vest, because if you look, just about everything is single stitching. Now, that single stitching works great to help keep the profile down, but over an extended everyday use, that's going to be a weak point, and that's going to be a possible failure point. The same with this elastic. The elastic is going to be a possible failure point right there. And if one side of that goes, I mean, you've lost half of your ability to keep your vest. So, I don't know. That is I don't know. It could last another 5 years. It could rip tomorrow. Just something to be aware of if you get this. Now, if you're not going to use this for every day, if you are going to be that average Joe who's going to throw this in, you know, maybe by the bedside, maybe throw this underneath the bed in case a bumps in the night, or in case the zombie apocalypse, or whatever your prepper fantasy is, it will probably last you your lifetime. If you are going to have to occasionally use this to get home because there's some weird shit happening in your town, this will probably work. If you are needing a duty rated chest rig or a duty rated everyday carry plate carrier, I just can't recommend it for that. For the hobbyist, yes. Airsofter, 100%. Someone who's going to use it every now and again, okay. I have used this in the past six to 8 months that I've had it. I have used this probably 15 times. I was doing workouts in it. Did a little bit of LARPing at the range with it on. Just put it on and wore it to see how well I could keep it hidden, how comfortable it would be. I wore it for about 10, 12 hours around the house, doing chores, mowing the yard. And in those 12 times, I've already started to notice that. Like I said, it's on both sides. So, is that a possible failure point? Yes. Is it going to fail today, tomorrow, 5 years from now? Who knows? But that is something that you need to be aware of. Pros. We'll go over it from the top. The pros of this is it is extremely concealable. Being slick, holding 2 mags with a little bit of first aid, you're not ever going to see it. No one's going to know you've got it on. The cons, the straps, they conceal so well that I almost hate to say that they're a con. But if I have to put duct tape on something to make it work for me, it's not exactly right. These straps, with the length of them, they should have had Velcro the entire length. There should have been a place to tuck them in the back for the extended length, and that would fix it. The overall construction of being single stitched, I really worry about if you had to use this as an everyday sort of protection. Shit goes down, the end of the world's happened, and you've got to start wearing this every day. You're a duty officer and you've got to wear something every day. You've got it as a just in case to throw on to bug out to get to your bug out location. Hey man, it's going to be great for that. You've got this because you need to drive through some sketchy neighborhoods every now and again on your way home. Hey, it'll work great for that. You want something to play around at the range just to get used to having a rig? Do it. You want to use it for like Murph and working out? Do it. There's going to be more comfortable ones, but you can do it for working out. You could use it for general use. I just can't recommend this for end of the world, the end all be all. You get what you pay for. It's just as good. Whatever cliche you want to use, I just can't recommend it for that right now because I'm not sure. If these end up being a failure point, it's definitely a no-go. If any of the stitching starts coming apart, it's definitely going to be a no-go. But as of right now, in the 6 to 8 months I've had it, I've had 0 issues. There's just some more comfortable rigs out there if you're going to have to wear it for 12 hours. I can't recommend to get it at this point in time. Thanks for watching. Buy at your own risk.